Hello everyone and welcome to the Sweeney Show, Business and Law Podcast. Joining me today is a really exciting and interesting guest. We have Paul Merriman of Ask Paul, Pax Financial Services, and clear choice of financial product to financial brokers. So, Paul, are you the busiest man in Dublin at the moment?
Quite possibly, yeah. My wife thinks I am.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for giving us your time to come on today.
No problem.
We've seen you so much on your social media channels and across. You're actually on TV3 Ireland AM.
Yes.
And so Ask Paul is it's like a brand now. It's a huge profile and brand for yourself.
It is.
But what actually is Ask Paul?
So I came up with Ask Paul about 2 years ago. I was getting an awful lot of referrals into my brokerage, Pax Financial Planning, from accountants. And we're finding that an awful lot of people are coming to accountants with complex financial problems. For argument's sake, with pension problems, investment problems. And the accountant was saying, Ask Paul. Just literally asked this guy, Paul. So people ringing me up saying, look, my accountant gave me a number. So we started looking at bringing the Ask Paul in layman terms financial advice to the overall public. Yeah. We did that through Facebook primarily. And we got contacted by TV3 to have a sit down on the couch every couple of Sundays with Anna and Simon.
And when you set up, the Facebook page, was there a demand for it?
There was a huge demand. I was actually quite taken back. I couldn't believe the amount of people that hadn't got very basic financial skills. I knew that there was a lot of people that didn't have the very basic financial skills in life. And that was my mission, to try and improve that or help that as much as I could. But I couldn't realise that many people wanted it. Yeah. I thought I was going to have. I actually sat down, at the beginning of Ask Paul, we sat down and said, here's a 5-year journey. We want to be here in 5 years' time. And within 6 months, we kind of achieved that. So we were in local press, we were on TV, we were on radio. So it took over.
When you say financial skills, what does that mean?
Well, so what I mean by financial skills is that financial sense around Irish people, if you look at compared to, say, the Americans or even some in the UK, would be literacy is much smaller and less. So it was my job, I felt, to try and bring that up, to help people understand finance a bit more.
Is that just even budgeting, like in their wages, their income and their outgoings, and putting that all together?
I think people steer away from financial stuff because they don't know about it enough. They feel uncomfortable, so they won't go in and ask a broker something. They won't go into the bank.
It's like that ad, I don't know what a tracker mortgage is.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a big unknown out there.
So if you look at that, David, I know when a tracker mortgage came out, I think it was in 2006, that ad campaign ran. The guy on the bus, I know what a tracker mortgage is. And that was really it. We kind of stopped that ad campaign from the government and never really took the general public on a journey. So I suppose Ask Paul is trying to continue that journey for people, to bring them on. But I wanted people to have basic skills and basic knowledge around how different financial products works, what they should and shouldn't be doing. So if they came across, not that they have to come to Paul, but if they went to a broker, say, in West Cork, they'd know what questions to ask. And they'd know what the broker was talking about more, and they'd feel more comfortable. Yeah. And then I suppose from a basic financial step, and a lot of people have probably heard of something from me on social media, on TV, is that everyone needs to push. So I do think that, I try to say that everyone, if you're in a relationship, if you've got a husband and wife, kids, or even you're single, living at home, whatever it is, you need to have a personal budget. You need to treat your own finances like a business. So,
and is that taken short term, week to week? Is it long term, 5 year, 10 year?
I generally try and say monthly. Your budget should be run on a monthly basis, but you should have a couple of objectives along the way. So you should know where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
So that kind of means
you need to push it out towards retirement age.
Living within your means, week to week, and being able to put away and save an amount for a target in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And that can come up for a rainy day fund, sending kids to school, for education funds. It can come up to want to have that big family holiday in 5 years. I suppose fundamentally we want people not to fall into the trap pre-recession. So we want people to have money in their banks. If you look at the recession 2007, a lot of people lost their jobs.
Was the trap that there was so much credit available and they got...
Yeah, well, there was so much credit available, but you have to look after your own house as well. So the most, I've met thousands of clients over my financial life as a financial advisor. And the most successful ones didn't have that much borrowings, and the most successful ones didn't really get impacted by the recession because they had their own reserve. They didn't rely on government, they didn't rely on social welfare.
Cut their cloth to suit their own measure.
Yeah, exactly. And they weren't focused on what the Jones were doing, they were looking at their own house. And those people weathered the storm quite easily. And I'm just trying to promote the fact that this happened before, it will definitely happen again in our lifetime. And so when it comes around again, you're in good financial state.
Where do you think we are as regards recession, boom, economy? Are we on an upcycle? Have we plateaued?
So we're in the second biggest bull market ever. The S&P is the longest run actually in relation to the S&P, the index. So stock market index. That's at its longest run. where it hasn't fallen more by 20%. That's definitely going to come to an end. When I personally think over the next 12 to 18 months. So if you're not watching this today,
what's promoting that? What's happening with that? Is that because?
Well, I suppose low interest rates. The Fed and the US having very low interest rates. They're starting to increase slowly. And fundamentally, when you have low interest rates, people can't really find their returns other than the stock market. Now, people are starting to invest. That's why we see all these vulture funds coming into Ireland. They're trying to divest away from the stock market and into property now again. But it will stop. The ECB is going to increase their rates from next year, which is going to be very important for mortgage holders in Ireland, in my opinion. Once they start increasing interest rates, people will now get a little bit more on deposit with the bank, and they might want to take risk as much in the stock market, and then they'll fall back.
If I have a mortgage and say, because it's in the news a lot recently, say I have a mortgage 10 years old, I made all my payments, and I now hear there's a vulture fund after coming in and buying so-called bad debts, but they're taking these good debts as well.
Yeah, taking a lot
Should
of
I
good
be worried if I fall into that
no.
category, or what? Is there any real change to my? I suppose does it affect my credit? Does it affect my repayments?
No, it won't affect your credit.
Profile.
It won't affect either of those things.
Okay.
The good news is it won't affect either of those things. However, we can't tell in the future what it's going to be. And what I mean by that is not to try and dodge the question, is that we don't know what these vulture funds are going to do. If I was in arrears in the past and I have a bad loan book, I would be worried. I will be worried because the American hedge funds are brought in purely to sort out our mess that the banks won't do themselves.
And does that mean that they have their view is to repossess and sell?
They're going to go to repossessions
and then let the house owner deal with the residue or whatever in long term. But
now, there's probably a lot of write down of debt as well on that. But fundamentally, if I was a house owner and I was in arrears, and I'm at to being passed over to the vulture fund, I'd be starting to worry and starting to panic. Ireland's the only country in the world where it's very hard to repossess compared to anywhere else. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's another podcast.
It is, and we've done podcasts on it on the personal solvency practitioners. It started to change in the favour of the homeowner.
It is. Look,
but in saying that, it's something like, I think there was 1,200. Over 200 personal solving practitioners qualified in the country. There's only something like 12 practicing or actually have proper practices.
Because when the PIPs came out years ago, everyone ran for them because there was a recession, and even people from my own industry, maybe QFAs, they ran into the PIPs thinking this was going to be the next kind of big thing. Help people, but fundamentally the law didn't really stack up properly, I don't think. But look, vulture funds are coming in, they're buying property. I think it's wrong. I don't think government should be allowed to do it. I think it's horrendous that it's happening to the Irish people. But if I was in a situation where I had got arrears on my mortgage, I would start to panic around now. And I really would. And I'm not just trying to spread fear on that, but ultimately you're going to be getting hammered with vulture fund solicitors letters. There's going to be massive pressure on you. So the biggest thing to say to anybody that might be listening to this is to try and engage with them ASAP.
Yeah, is it too late to get your house in order?
It's never too late, but it depends on how the vulture fund, how much debt you're in, I suppose. But if you don't communicate, you're on a slippery slope. So you need to open the communication channel with the vulture fund. And if you are in arrears with your bank and you haven't been given to a vulture fund, it's going to happen sooner or later. So start getting your house in order, start communicating with the bank, trying to work out plans, and like I said, ultimately take your head out of sand and deal with the problem you have.
And if I have a mortgage that's not in arrears and it's not affected by the vulture fund, should I shop around?
100%.
And is
100%.
that?
So there's a couple of things here to watch out for. If you're on a tracker mortgage, no, because you're going to have the lowest interest rates out there. Now, I have seen one or two tracker rates that seem to be quite high, but everyone loves the stability of a tracker mortgage.
So tracker follows like the Central European
interest rate. So the tracker follows the ECB.
And the bank adds their 1% or whatever their charge is.
0.75. I've seen even down to 0.5. That's zero at the moment. Now, next year it will start to go up. At the moment, Ulster Bank and KBC are having a major battle of rates between each other. So is that
because they're new to the market? AIB, Bank of Ireland.
Yes and no. I mean, Bank of Ireland are taking another route. Bank of Ireland are giving the upfront cash deal as well by giving that out. PTSB are in that bracket as well. So banks are going to market different and see how they get on. But I do think ultimately your interest rate is the most important part of your loan. That's how much you're going to pay the bank back over time. And I think again, if you go on to askpaul.ie and see some of the videos in the past about mortgage interest rates, you know, somebody borrowing a few $100,000 off a bank now are going to pay back nearly $200,000 in interest over 35 years. And sometimes the difference between 30 or 35 years can be as much as $50,000 in interest. So you really need to know what the term is and how to look at that. But I suppose first thing is remortgage. If you're not in a tracker mortgage, you're not in a fixed mortgage, I'd remortgage. Ulster Bank go down as low as 2.2 or 2.3 now, which is really good.
I suppose there's a slight difference between switching mortgage and remortgaging. Switch is like you just go to a different bank and a different rate and a different term.
Yeah, it is.
Like on a remortgage, isn't it like you can maybe combine other debt into your mortgage and all that kind of stuff?
The banks aren't mad about doing that at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they're going to probably come out in the next couple of years. So once the mortgage market slows down, they'll start offering remortgage where you can bring your car and all your...
Doesn't make financial sense to put a car on over 15 years.
Doesn't make any financial sense whatsoever. No. When I say remortgage, I refer to switch.
Yeah,
so
just
say
change
from bank A
one product on your house
for a cheaper rate. They're very easily done. A couple, like for example, Ulster Bank will pay your or 1,500 towards your solicitor fees. They all have these kind of little things, and so it's a very easy process. And generally speaking, if you have a mortgage, and you're paying your mortgage, and you're still in the same salary as you were 5, 10, whatever years ago, or more of a salary, you should sail through the process quite easily, get a lower interest rate. Now, when we're talking about interest rates, talk about remortgaging or switching your bank. The next one we need to talk about, I think, today is probably fixing. So if you're on a variable rate and you're switching, you need to fix. Interest rates are going to start increasing from 2019, in my opinion.
So it's a good time to fix now when the market is
good time to fix now. You're probably looking at the lowest interest rate environment ever, and it's going to be the lowest interest rate probably for the next
2.3, 2.6 somewhere out there.
Yeah, 2.3, 2.3. Now that depends on whether it's a 1 year, 2 year.
Okay.
In my opinion, you need to be looking for a 7 year.
Okay.
So if you have a couple saying they're earning whatever amount a month and they're currently able to afford their mortgage and there's no problems and they switch to a lower interest rate and they fix it for 7 years, that's exactly what they need to do, because it gives them certainty for the next 7 years.
Okay.
Especially if there's kids. It's different if it's on a RIP or a residential investment property, but if it's a family home, you've got children and you want to put security in, fix it for 7 years. And then what I'd also do along with that is maybe every month put 50 quid into the credit union, 75, 20, whatever you can afford. And that's going to build up a residual fund, so when you come off your tracker in 7 years, you've got a few grand to maybe get you to year 10 without increasing your kind of disposable income or touching your disposable income.
That's huge. That's great advice.
It is, yeah. Not many people do it, but it is. It's key. So what it does is, just to recap, 7 year fixed interest rate. A few quid in the bank each month extra. It can be as little as 50 quid, so if you look at 600 quid a year.
Builds up.
Over time, with a 3 or 4 grand in your credit union account, and then if you come off your fixed rate, your mortgage goes from 2,000 to 2,200. Well, then you've got a couple of hundred quid a month coming out of your savings account to keep your tracker the same, or keep your fixed rate the same.
And how does then your company Pax? How does that fit in with your?
So
is that another financial service company?
So Pax is a financial service company. It's a broker. It's regulated by the central bank. I bought this company in 2011. I was in Irish Life for 8 years. Left Irish Life.
You've offices in Dublin and Limerick now.
And Limerick, Limerick as well now. Yeah. So I left Irish Life, set up, bought Pax, and then I bought a company in Limerick in 2013.
Is that a good? It was good time
great
to buy that, was it?
Well, it was a great time from a valuation point of view.
Okay, yeah, but it was a risk. It was a brave choice. It was a risk at the time. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a risk at the time. But again, when I was leaving Irish Life, even like my own dad and everyone was saying to me, "You're mad, it's a recession." I was like, "Well, look, if I'm going to Irish Life every day and I have to do business there, but I have to do it on my own, so be it." And it worked out well. So we bought Pax and I've been operating now for 18 staff.
So you hopped on the Limerick All Ireland bandwagon now, are you?
Actually, the lads down there discussed I couldn't get them tickets. They think everyone in Dublin has access to Croke Park. We don't. But yeah, we'll jump on it if it gets us business. But look, when we started Pax, it was great. It was 7 years ago, and fundamentally, we advise and give financial products. So I think brokers out there need to put their hands up and say what they do. They're financial products. We advise on them. We sell them. We give clients. But we do in Pax, and even with Ask Paul. So when someone comes in to Ask Paul and they ask me for financial path, we show them the financial journey, and if they need products to fill that gap, we can provide them with the products and Pax then. And that's the idea.
Does that involve estate planning, succession planning?
It does, a lot of that actually.
If I got sick in work, would my salary be covered, my family?
Yeah, exactly. So it covers income protection, life assurance if something go wrong. But if you look at those two products, in my opinion, every single person needs income protection, especially if you're self-employed, you don't get any state benefit. So that's one of the kind of recommendations I recommend to every single person, income protection. And then when it comes to life cover,
just on the income protection, is there ratios or percentages that you should have yourself covered for?
The life insurance companies, the life insurance companies will cover you up to 75% of your salary. So if you're earning 100 grand, go up to 75,000.
And that, by way that you would fund that by a monthly instalment into that plan or into that program.
And as well as that, not only are they very cheap to insure, but you get tax relief on it as well. So you get an awful lot against your tax bill at the end of the year. So it's a complete no-brainer for self-employed people. And again, they won't give you 100%, but you want to give you some incentive to go back to work. So as a kind of basis, we recommend every single self-employed person has a minimum of 12,000. And the reason we say 12,000 in income protection is if you were a PAYE worker, that's what you get off the state if you went out work sick, where you don't get that being self-employed. So that's the starting basis. Then you cover your mortgage, car repayments, whatever else you have going out. So that's the kind of first financial product you can get have. And then we look at life assurance, specified illness cover, and they're all a needs basis, because if you have someone that's, say, married, if something happens to them, they have a mortgage, their mortgage is cleared, and they get maybe, if you have a couple of kids, $1,400 a month, widows or widowers pension. They don't really need that much more cover, you know. But if you have someone that's renting and cohabiting, and they have kids and they're not married, well, they have a much bigger problem because they don't have a mortgage to pay off. And if dad dies, they're going to have the mortgage, the repayments, or sort of rent coming in every month, and not going to get any state help because they're not married. So they'd have a much higher liability. So again, it's not one suits all. You know, it's a case by case basis.
Do you find now that with, I suppose, the economy growing and people are self-employed people, it might be busier again, that it is the age of retirement now? Is that changing? Is it moving out as a couple? Do people have the dream, I'm retiring at 50 and getting the yacht?
Anyone in their 30s, kind of early 40s, it's 60. Sorry, everyone under 55, it's 68 years of age now.
Okay.
For our generation, it's going to be 70. Let's call a spade a spade. It is. And we've brought in, Regine Donnelly looks like we are bringing in, it's been delayed now, auto enrolment. So everyone's going to be enrolled in a pension automatically come 2022, 2024. They're pushing the dates out. So that will show you, and that the reason for that, Dave, is that there's a massive strain on the state pension. We've not enough young people compared to older people. So that puts a strain on the state pension being paid out. So, and if you go back to 2000...
But they keep pushing out the year, don't they?
They do, it was 65, 66, 67, now it's 68. And like I said, for us it's going to be 70 years of age. So if you don't want, that's saying about the financial journey, if you're in your 40s and you haven't got a pension yet, like, believe it or not, saying 25 years away, you want to work till age 60 or 70 or 30 years. But you need to start putting some provisions in place. It doesn't have to be a pension. It could be, I don't know, if you have a residential property, a second residential property as an investment. You might have tax-related schemes. There's loads of different things. But the pension makes the biggest sense because you get tax-free on the way in. So it's tax deduction on the way in. You get tax-free growth. So there's loads of, like, it's the best tax haven out there. Also,
you can... if you have, is it a self-administering pension, you can actually buy property through your
pension. If you self-administering pension, you can buy property
and all that rent goes straight into your pension.
So the rent goes into the pension. You can actually borrow now up to 50% loan to value. So the LISC, which are part of the ICS group, they're offering pension mortgage up to 50%. So if you have 200 grand in your pension, you get another 200 grand, buy a property or a couple of properties, and have the rent going in. It's all tax free, and there's no capital gains when you sell the property into your pension. So it's a complete no-brainer.
Actually, the pension company that owns it, wasn't ever your asset, is that it?
Yeah, the pension, but it's you own the pension, and the pension owns the property. Yeah, it's like a trust. But so again, complete no-brainer. But like I said, you need a bit of advice and, you know, how to structure them and where the best place to go to keep your costs as low as possible. But like I said, it's
is that why then people marry their kind of the term of their mortgage or their debt with their kind of retirement age? So you're kind of winning then if you can, the sooner you can pay your mortgage off, because obviously if you have a nest egg coming, that debt is gone as well, so you don't need as much.
Well, don't forget, if you go back to, and let's just talk about a few fundamentals about how we ended up today with the mortgage that we had. If you go back 20 years ago, a 20-year mortgage was normal, then it was 25, then it was 30, now it's 35. The reason is not to help you pay your mortgage, the reason is to help the banks lend more, which is a disgrace. So that's the reason you have a 35-year mortgage. And it helps fuel the property growth. So, look, I'm not trying to ditch the whole industry, but it's ridiculous. So you really need to have a 20. Business, it is a business. And the more they can lend you, the longer they lend you, the more they can lend you. And that fundamentally fuels a property market, and it fuels the bank's balance sheets. So you need to be, in my opinion, 20, 25 years max. And if you can't afford that house, well, if you have to go 35 years, it's a bad idea because you're funding it for way too long, and the interest the bank receives.
So even though you might think your monthly instalment is right where you want it to be, plus your house insurance, life insurance, you're being over that 15 year outside your 25 or whatever it might be 10, that's where the killer is.
If you look, I think it's a 300 grand mortgage. Last time I did this figure for a client last week. If you have a 300 grand mortgage over 35 versus 30, it's a 48 grand difference in interest rate. If you bring it back to 25, it's nearly 100 grand.
That's insane.
So although you think you're at a low repayment, and plus you're fueling the property bubble anyway, and you're in a situation where you're paying the bank back nearly 100 grand more interest.
So wow, like there's so much out there, isn't there? That's why I can see how Ask Paul is such a service that people should be drawn to and should use.
And again, I don't know if you've seen, there's a good ad out there for one of the insurance companies. I can't remember who it is, where the guy is sitting in the bank, and the couple, and they're buying their home insurance, they're like the bunny in the headlights. And they're just signing their home insurance or their life insurance.
So I think a lot of people when they buy their house, they're just relieved to get the house and get the mortgage. And then the bank is actually selling them their own products for the insurance, but they're not required to get, 100%. But they feel then it's going to affect my
And
the ability to draw down if they don't do it.
You're touching on something there which is emotional, boy, not to get too carried away with the podcast. But why everybody needs a good financial advisor, someone to hold their hands. That if I have a client, here my client,
you're not emotionally attached.
I'm not emotionally attached to you buying your house. I don't really, no disrespect.
You haven't.
I don't care. Obviously, I care about just my clients. But I don't have you're putting the decors in, you're going to have your friends around, the kids are going to have nice bedrooms. They don't matter to me. I'm going to look at the figures and say, no, that's madness. You need to do it over this, because I don't have an attachment to the underlying thing you're buying. And that's a massive thing in behavioural and emotional finance, and why a good financial advisor will really give you the right advice to stay away from the pitfalls that many people will go.
Because I think once the person gets their mortgage, they can see their budget and how much they can actually buy. They go into a bidding process with the auctioneer, get their solicitor, and then all they want is the keys. They just want the keys to the door, and they just want to start buying the Aga cooker and the fancy kettle.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen there's loads of times where people go in with a budget, say, I don't know, say the house for 300k, for argument's sake, and we can't afford more than 300k. Go to 305, no problem. 310, no problem. 320, you know, and they're just going back to mum and dad. They're going back to the bank. They're going back to jobs, or they're trying to scrimp. I said, no, if that was your budget, stick to it. And again, if you're out
that just
there,
means that property right now is not for you.
And I mean, and also the biggest problem I have with people, but not have with people, the biggest problem I see people doing is they say they have a budget, they go to the bank, they come to me, and someone says, yeah, look, you can afford a 300 grand repayment. You don't start looking for a house for 300 grand. You start looking for a house for 250, because you have that 50 grand then to go fluctuate. Where people go straight out, go on to Daft.ie,
see, and then they fall in love with the house for 300, and then that's not really their budget.
Then their emotional part takes over, their heart takes over their financial brain, they just get to run away themselves, like, you know.
Wow, so like your Ask Paul and your Pax kind of covers the personal aspect. But you've another aspect to your business, which is Clear Choice.
Yes.
And that's like an advisory to brokers themselves, is it?
Yeah, so what I did was I set up Pax. I mentioned I was in Irish Life for 8 years, and I left Irish Life in 2011. And I couldn't get my head around. So, for argument's sake, a brokerage, and my brokerage Pax has, I think it's 17 agencies, so we can do business with 17 different companies for our clients. They go to the major 7 life companies. They got it, Aviva, Friends Force, New World, Irish Life, etc. Then you add on another 10 kind of auxiliary, like the BCPs, the Bespokes, the Green Man Investments, etc.
You've lost me already there. Like,
you would to everyone else, to anyone not in the industry. So we created Clear Choice just to look at the 6 primary companies for life assurance and for life assurance contracts. And I did it in-house first, so for my own practice, I didn't really have a clue what was going on. I'm only ever leaving Irish Life. And there was no one in the marketplace doing that. So nobody in the marketplace is actually comparing all the different life assurance contracts. So I did it for myself. It took me about 6 or 8 months to get the kind of just spreadsheets together on all the different products. I was doing a CFP, was Certified Financial Planner, with UCD, and a few of my brokers in the class heard what I was doing, asked me could they buy the spreadsheets. So I went to 6 life companies, they gave me a chunk of change, enough money, and we went and developed a system called Clear Choice. We've almost 500 brokers using it on a monthly retainer.
So is it a software package, or is it?
It's a software package, and they can basically log into Clear Choice and find any life assurance contract in the Irish market with 2 clicks. So one on the difference between, say, income protection with Friends Force in Royal London, I can find it as a broker, and I can also get a compliance report printed off on my file. And the end result then is the client actually is going to get the saving. Yeah, and the client gets the best product and also the best price as well. So it's a quotes engine as well. It's been going really well, and we also we train brokers an awful lot. So we train new brokers into the industry. So brokers would send their staff into us here in our Sandyford office, or else they bring us in house, and we train their staff in relation to how to deal with the clients' best practices, ethical financial planning, all the good stuff. It's a great business for us.
And what's the plan now in the future? Where do you go next? Is there anything left?
The plan is to expand Clear Choice, so it's only life insurance. We're bringing out pension investments.
But you must have a huge staff and a huge team behind you.
Yeah, we've 18. Wow. And I think the key to having any successful business is having great staff and people that will really back you up, because without them we'd be lost. I have a great team, and I'd be really, really in trouble. You can keep coming up with the ideas, but you can't execute them on your own. It's impossible. You never leave your house. So you really need to have good staff. Takes a long time to get there, but once you get there, you're all right.
And TV3, we just touched on the start. You're enjoying your newfound TV stardom and celebrity status.
Celebrity status, I know, but enjoy TV3. It's good. We get and then what's happening now is people are sending emails in and asking us to discuss certain topics, which is a good sign. So
it's really productive for people and helping people.
Yeah, it is really productive. Yeah, it is, and it's great. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, especially because a good audience at TV3. Facebook is great. We get out there and we get great hits and great shares on Facebook. But it's good to diversify into the kind of TV channels.
Was it nerve-wracking the first time? Did you mind? Is it still nerve-wracking, or are you used to it now?
No, I wouldn't be now. I think sometimes you go in, if it's a hot topic, something's come up in the press recently, you have to kind of, you don't know what way Anna and Simon are going to bring the conversation sometimes. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's just literally like sitting on a couch like this, just sitting down, having a chat with people. And as well, because you're not trying to sell anything, I think if you have to go on to TV3, and you've, say for argument's sake, you sell windows, and you have to get 5 key pitches across about your windows compared to your competitors, you're going to be under pressure. But we're just having generally a chat, and we do well out of that, because
we love watching you on the TV. It's fantastic to see you on TV. It's fantastic to see all your businesses grow.
Thank you very much.
We thank you again for your time today.
No problem.
And we wish you the very best luck for the future.
Thank
you very much, Paul.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.